The future of Absolver is here, and it's a little mod called Absolver Plus. We've already had a tournament for it, and the future's looking bright. But in case you missed some of the tournament stuff, or in case, I don't fucking know, in case you missed whatever else, I basically want to spend this video going through more of the fine-grained changes of Absolver Plus and what this kind of means for the future of Absolver. So let's fucking go. Let's get in there. Moves have modified or removed properties. So obviously, avoid moves, duck moves, jumping moves, they're all gone. They are gone. They don't have a space here. What I meant to say here was that jump, duck, and avoid moves were removed in favor of making them do the same damage as their non-modified counterparts. So in turn, it would grant more competitively viable deck building options. Now, the rationale here was that most competitive play that involves these moves with their modifiers is not engaging or interesting. It encourages passive play where one player will just sit in a stance and block and just wait for a thrust to launch counter pressure. Front kick is a charge breaker. Like, guard breaks are now charge breakers. Like, they do the same damage that they've always done to guard, so they're still lethal against anybody blocking. They do hurt a lot, but they're absorbable by Cult. Now, before you get all bellyachy and say, oh, you're gonna make Cult absorb shit, listen, it's not as bad as you think, okay? And I will explain why in another video, okay? Let's move on. We got more ground to cover. Frame data has been reworked. Let's see here. So obviously, moves have modified or removed properties, but let's look at the other stuff that you may have noticed, and that is that 10 frames and 11 frames are gone. The fastest moves in each stance you'll see are 12 frames. So some people will say it's good. Other people will say it is a choice. I think the issue was that people couldn't find it. Like, we couldn't find a good place to put 10 and 11 frames just yet, at least for the sake of the Jade Festival. So I think that those are still kind of under investigation, but I think the general consensus was the idea to make faster moves a little more, a bit more negative and punishable, and make these 12 frames kind of like table stakes for if you wanted to hit and keep your turn. So striking a moderate balance between speed and advantage. But just couldn't solve that right now. I know that Kuro still thinks that there's a space for 10 and 11 frames in the moveset, but for now, we're just kind of cooling on that. In addition to some of these things changing and moving around, there are certain high thrusts that have been converted into horizontals. One is reaching Mawashi. The other is charged Haymaker. Another is, I believe, roll back fist somewhere. So high thrusts are pretty much gone. So we got roll back fist, we got grab punch, I'm pretty sure. Oh wait, grab punch happens over here. We want to get up here. We have, where are you, grab punch? There you are. Grab punch is now a horizontal high. And so basically a lot of options that were just high thrusts are now horizontals to help you kind of diversify your deck building. And one of my favorites actually straight up is Drunk Smash, which is now a horizontal high, and it is nasty. It is nasty. But yeah, so you got a lot more move options. A lot of these high thrusts are now just sort of across the spectrum of slow to fast frame data. A lot of these moves are now horizontals. So your deck building is going to be a little more varied. You're going to be able to cover a bit more options. I think it's totally a welcome change. So Omni says most of the 10 to 11 frame moves will be back after the tournament ends and the next balance change. They weren't in the full release because it wouldn't be fair to people practicing on current version for tournament. Oh, that's fair. Okay. Yeah, so it seems like they're going to come back. It's just it's good to incrementally do these things. So, yeah. 12 frame moves are now light. The 12 frames. 12 frames are now lights. They're now light moves. And that is for a good reason. And that reason is that Cult now works, basically. This changing to light actually fixes a lot of Cult's problems where people who would loop, in vanilla, people who would loop 12 frames would straight up just be able to steamroll Cult. So, inside kick or whatever, if I wanted to loop inside kick and back Ura or something, I would have to watch out for an absorb. Or even somebody running shield now Temple Knock, like this is a light, this is a light, light. Any 12 frame is now a light move. And then 13 frame is where medium starts. This is a small change. It really only affects the way that Cult interacts with the rest of the deck. Otherwise, a light move is a light move is a light move. I am kind of sad, though. The sound effect for a light move sounds a little bit more like a wet noodle than a medium move. So, PC price tag looking smaller and smaller. My boy! There's no longer a distinction between thrust and vertical moves. All verticals have been converted into thrusts. So now it's simplification, but it diversifies the kind of decks you can build because you now no longer have to worry about this distinction, which really only mattered for one class, but unfortunately it mattered for the class that was the best. So, you know, no big deal there, eh? Yeah, other than that, I mean, like, jump out elbow is now a thrust. So if you can thrust to your heart's content. Okay? You do whatever you want. Weapons have been rebalanced. Sword frame data has also been rebalanced. And again, the thrust vertical distinction's not there. Everything's just been sort of reworked. Dodge abilities are, like, dodge move properties are gone. And in addition to sword stuff changing, like, the shard economy around swords and gloves has been changed. Basically, the economy around sword and gloves is that sword is your ticket to getting cut damage, and gloves, I guess. Gloves have generally more durability than sword, and cut damage for sword has been reduced to be a maximum of 50%. So you can't just pull a moon pike and start destroying your enemy's health through their armor for free. It's going to cost you more in general. You can see the, like, mostly cut, right? But it costs, to get access to the cut, you can see the Bear Claw War Gloves have 4 shard costs. In the same way that, like, if I have... Where's my swords? Like, Spear Grip, it's all blunt. Costs 2 shards. Rizrin Sword, it costs 5 shards because it gives you cut. 2 shards because it's blunt. This is 3 shards up from 2 because, like, the Terra Machete is 3 shards up from 2 because it gives you some cut, right? So, the durability is also lower on swords generally. We're, like, looking at, like, the 300s, the 400s max, and then, like, table stakes is, like, low 300s for gloves. So a little bit of diversity there, truly. Some powers have been added and other powers have had their costs modified. What I wanted to talk about was powers. Powers have changed. So let's take a look at this really quick. Powers have fundamentally changed. Not fundamentally, but shard cost has again been rebalanced around powers. So stuff like Shockwave is now 3 shards. Exhaust is 3 shards. I mean, Exhaust didn't change. Gravity didn't change. Heal didn't change. Shield didn't change. But the ones that did change were Unbreakable, which is 4 shard. Shadow Void, which is now 5 shards. We have 2 new powers called Terran Slam and Vortex, which I'll probably just get footage for at some point. But they're both boss moves, essentially. And then Terran Slam is like an extra dope Shockwave. And then Sharp Impact dispels on hit, which is great. Snatcher is 3 shards. Nice. And Earthquake is 3 shards. So just, like, rebalancing of this so that, you know, stuff that was kind of overtuned got, like, an appropriate shard cost. So Earthquakes can't happen all the goddamn time now. But yeah. There have been a few updates to most defensive styles. Also, I want to talk about, just really quick, again, for the sake of me editing this footage afterwards, is let's talk about how the powers, or how the classes have changed, right? Because fundamentally, we'll go from least detailed to most detailed. So starting with Windfall, nothing about this class has changed at all. Nothing about it has changed. Let's not worry about it. Nothing has changed about this class. It's fine. It works exactly like you think it does in vanilla. Forsaken now has moves that has 1 additional frame of confirm. So essentially, you'll be able to parry and confirm, pretty reliably confirm something like underknee kick or any 13 frame move. Previously, people used to run, like, different opinions, like, oh, you got to run a 10 frame because it's just not reliable, or you got to run a 12 frame. Like, I was always in the 12 frame camp, but basically running like a 13 frame on parry is basically guaranteed now if you land your parry. Cult is now just in a better spot based on the resilience stuff. So basically, if I absorb, I'll gain resilience 1, and the fact that all these things are light now, all the 12 frames are lights, means that someone can't just do, like, crouching elbow into Baccarat, or, like, they can't do a 12 frame into a 12 frame. So it ends up being that you would be able to trade and take your turn back. Like, you could even absorb and sidekick if you wanted to, and just like probably trade with somebody launching 2 lights consecutively. So Cult is basically hasn't really fundamentally changed. Still uses resilience, still uses all of its other stuff, but the difference is now when you absorb, the move set has changed such that Cult can actually tank through a lot of like good, solid, reliable openers. Combining this with Shield, you actually get like a really, really strong class for like 10 seconds. Cult is essentially playable again, which is great. And with all the deck editing stuff, Cult no longer has to build like around an avoid move or anything. So Cult is just in a really, really good spot. Phasian, which is like the second I guess it's like the second most quote unquote changed, but so Phasian, obviously same sort of stuff. Their parries, the advantage is the advantage I think is 7-0, no? Or what's the advantage? 7-7? It's in the tips. Oh my god, it's in the tips! Read the tips, Mork! Fuck. Phasian side parries are +10/+0 on hit and block and deal 50 damage. You recover 10 stamina from a successful parry, but the hit afterwards also costs 10 stamina. The Phasian stopper has a startup of 15 frames, is 6/6 on hit or block, and deals 80 damage and 50 stamina damage. When using the sword, it always hits from the left. Okay, right, because the swords are right-handed. The Phasian low parry follows the same rules as Forsaken parries. Phasian backslips break your opponent's gold link, applying a slow similar to Windfalls. However, your opponent could completely cancel this slow by gold linking, making the ability more akin to an absorb. You only ignore the avoided move's hit stun. You recover 25 stamina from successful backslip. Wait, oh, you actually... Nice, yeah, good, okay. Fair. Cool. So Stopper is 6/6, yep, nice. And then lastly, we have Stagger. All Stagger abilities are +7/+0 on hit and block. They all deal 90 damage on hit, aside from Front Stagger, which deals 65 damage on hit, probably because it has armor. Side Stagger has a startup of 17 frames, Back Stagger has a startup of 18 frames, and Front Stagger has a startup of 15 frames. Front Stagger can be parried from either direction. Okay, so Front Stagger is Omni parryable, right? You recover 30 stamina from a successful Stagger Avoid. You also gain a stacking buff that reduces stamina consumption for all your actions by 15% that lasts for 5 seconds. Yep. Glad that detail's in here so that people know how Stagger kind of works in general, but also just the changes make this class a lot more fair, right? This is no longer a guaranteed confirm, and these are just like, they actually hurt. They're slow jabs that do a reasonable amount of damage, and they are counter playable. So that's, yeah. So I mean, those are like the class changes essentially, but let's get out of this Stagger stance because I hate it. I'm just trying to get a bunch of footage so that I can actually make a tiny video so that people can go to my YouTube channel who don't play Absolver anymore and don't visit the Reddit, and they just figure out like, oh my god, this is real? Hold on.
So that's it. That's Absolver Plus. It is the way that we keep our game alive. It's the way we've taken the patching power of the developers into our own hands. Is the method of installation for it weird? Yeah, of course. But it's brought about some very exciting tournament play, as well as some very engaging discussion about what makes Absolver competitive. It lets us plan new things for the future, new cosmetics, new moves, new ways to play. All this and more is available with the Absolver Plus mod. So I'll link it in the description. I recommend you check it out for yourself. It's got a lot of really cool stuff in it. Just make sure you're setting your social menu to invite only when you do it. It's just a courtesy. Otherwise, other people are going to get some really fucking wonky behavior in their lobbies. The first Jade Festival happened a few weeks ago, and it's a tournament for both Europe and North America. And the next one is expected to happen in just 6 months, roughly late winter or early spring. So from here until now, the game's going to change as the team looks at the past tournament data and adjusts aspects of the game. So if you'd like to enter, best get training now! Thanks for watching.